If you're on a weight loss journey or you struggle to get in those last grams of protein to hit your protein goal, then I've got the recipe for you. Today we're going to be making a cinnamon toast protein sludge. In the past I've done the Nick Bare Protein Sludge and it turned out great. This recipe is heavily inspired by that, but with some slight minor tweaks and only about 4 ingredients. Let's get to it. Diving straight in, the first things we're going to need for this recipe is going to be a good protein powder, particularly a cinnamon protein powder. Now if you don't have cinnamon protein or that's not available to you easily, then you can just use vanilla whey protein powder and some cinnamon as a kind of workaround. The second ingredient is going to be PB Fit or PB2. These powdered peanut butters are great for a thickening agent for something like this. However, if you can't find a PB2 or a PB Fit and you have access to Jello packets, you could use one of those, and we'll just be using about 8 grams of that as opposed to the 16 grams of the PB Fit. That'll also adjust your calories to be slightly lower. Then we'll need some almond milk. I use unsweetened almond milk for pretty much everything. This recipe in particular, we're not going to need a ton of almond milk, only about 80 milliliters for the entire thing. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the recipe. First thing we're going to need is a food scale, and then of course a bowl. Essentially all we're going to need to do here is grab 2 scoops of whey protein. For me, I'm using the cinnamon bun rise protein. I don't have any affiliations, but the flavor is great on this if you're looking for recommendations. For about 1 scoop, we're looking at roughly 34 grams. So I'm going to be using a total of 68 grams for this protein powder on this recipe. Then we'll go ahead and grab our PB Fit or our PB2, whatever kind of powdered peanut butter you're using, and add 1 serving to that. The 1 serving in this case is going to be about 16 grams. Finally, we're going to get about 80 milliliters of our unsweetened almond milk into our bowl. We'll go ahead and mix that around until there is a nice cake-like texture to it, similar to the one that you're seeing here on the screen. The thing is this isn't done yet. What you really want to do is put it into the refrigerator for about 10 minutes or so that way you can allow it to thicken up a little bit. Now that our protein sludge is ready, we're going to go ahead and take it out. And as you can see, it's not quite as runny. It's a little bit thicker, but it's still got a nice cake batter type mixture to it. So I think it's ready. Finally, we're going to go ahead and top this. I'm using chocolate chips, but here's the thing. This recipe is great for a variety of reasons. Obviously, it's lower calorie, it's got a ton of protein in it, and it tastes great. But more importantly, it's very adjustable. As I mentioned before, you can swap the PB Fit for Jello pudding. And then if you don't have cinnamon whey in your house, maybe you just have vanilla, you can swap that with the vanilla whey and some cinnamon. These are pretty common household items for people that typically have whey protein in the house, so it's very adjustable, which is great. This holds especially true when you're talking about the toppings. For the topping here, I'm using chocolate chips because I like the crunch, but you can also pivot and adjust and add things like strawberries, some blueberries, or even just regular chocolate. It also will go great with crunched up Oreo thins if you have the calories for it. Another thing that makes this very versatile is if you wanted to eat it in the morning, you could, and it's only going to take about 10 minutes. So you could actually prep this in advance and then it'll get ready in the morning. And when you're done, you can consume it. I personally like it more as a dessert, and I can prep it right before dinner. And once I'm done eating dinner, it's essentially ready for me. It makes things like dieting or getting in your protein way easier whenever you're enjoying your food, and of course, it's easy to prep. The versatility of the toppings is just an added bonus. Now for our calories and macros, if we're just measuring the protein sludge without any toppings, we are looking at 330 total calories to 12 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fat, and about 57 grams of protein. You really can't beat those macros. That's better than most protein bars if you were to eat 2 of them sitting down. But in my opinion, there isn't a protein bar that tastes better than this recipe. It's a must try, and if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to fill in that protein goal, or honestly, if you just need protein for any reason, which most people do, this is a great recipe that will make it feel like you're not dieting and that you really have no restrictions. For me personally, as somebody that's pretty flexible with their diet and tries to, not be too restrictive, I think recipes like this really keep me sane. Anyways, that's going to be it for the recipe today. If you try this out, please let me know down in the comments below. Definitely want to hear what you all think, but don't stop here. As you can see, there's a video on the screen recommended by YouTube for you. And until next time, keep it together.